If you've made somewhere between 0 and 20 sales on Etsy, or you've made sales but they feel completely random and you have no idea why they happened, I need you to listen for a hot minute because I'm about to run something I only do a couple of times a year. It is called, drumroll please, the Listathon, and it's completely free live challenge starting the 16th of March where I'm going to walk you through fixing the core foundations of your listings properly. We're not adding more products. We're not posting more on Instagram. We're not working harder. I'm not adding anything more to your plate because guess what? We are fixing what's already sitting in your shop. The titles, the photos, the structure, the bits that quietly decide whether someone buys or whether they click away. So if you're tired of refreshing your dashboard and hoping something changes, this is the moment you stop hoping and start fixing. It's live trainings by me, it's free, and it's honestly business changing. It's for the handmade business owner who knows their products are good, but their shop just isn't pulling its weight yet. Spots are open now. Go to handmadebosses.com/listathon week. Link will also be below, and get yourself signed up to this free life-changing challenge. I promise you, you're going to love it and you're going to take something amazing away from it. Right, let me just say this straight away. If the words Etsy SEO makes you go, oh, and kind of gives you this internal eye roll, and your brain immediately go, oh no, I've got to refresh all my listings again, like this episode is going to be for you. Today, I'm going to be explaining how Etsy search works in plain English that everyone can understand, and you're going to walk away from this feeling like, yeah, I'm getting it now. What your keywords are really doing behind the scenes, and why panicking about the algorithm, honestly, it does keep shops stuck. And I do see this a lot in Facebook groups, forums. There's always people going, oh, has the algorithm changed because my views have dropped and this has dropped. And like this video is kind of going to put all of that to bed. By the end of this, you are going to know what matters, what doesn't, and what to stop faffing around with so that you can actually just get back to making stuff rather than constantly thinking, oh, I need to get more traffic. And one thing I want to leave you with, if you are a bit of a skeptic after hearing this, is if refreshing listings was the answer, why are so many people doing that and still not making sales? If we haven't met before, hello, my name is Steph. I would love for you to subscribe, whether you are listening on the podcast version of this or whether you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on either one of those, you can go onto the other platform and see the visual version of this or listen to the audio version of this. So however you like to consume your content, I've got you covered. I take handmade business owners from wherever they are at, even if their product idea is just a twinkle in their eye, all the way up to six-figure powerhouse businesses with hiring staff and all that kind of stuff. So if that is you, if you are in that bracket, you are in the right place. Let's get into it. I want you to imagine Etsy like a very literal personal shopper, okay? It's not particularly clever. It's not particularly psychic. It can't read minds. It doesn't know, that much. And it's not emotionally invested in your shop. So when someone types something into Etsy search bar, this personal shopper's job is to go, cool, okay, brilliant. Which listings match these words and are most likely to make a sale? That's it. That is what the algorithm is essentially doing. And what you're going to see on screen, if you're watching the video version of this, is two circles, okay? We have two big things. We want to match and we want to convert. Those are the two biggest things the Etsy algorithm is actually looking at, okay? So number one, matching. Does your words match what the buyer typed? Number two, does Etsy think your listing is likely to sell if it shows it to that person, okay? Now, what is relevant for each one of these? So under matching, the keywords handle that side of it, okay? Now, under converting, the listing quality handles that, okay? So if you're like, what do I need to do each of these things? If you want to match, you need to look at your keywords. If you want to convert, you need to look at your listing quality, okay? So even if you just walked away from this with that visual in your head, and if you're listening on the podcast version, it's two circles, one's matching, one's converting, then I've done a good job. But we're going to go a little bit deeper. So let's talk about matching. I said to you about your keywords, but what actually do I mean? Right. So it is your title, it is your tags, and it is your categories. Those are the things that matter the most. Now moving on to converting, I said, hey, the thing that matters the most here is listing quality. So that is going to be things like your photos, clarity, aka your listing is not confusing people. Price, put description under here, and reviews. So these are all the things that are in your control that I've listed here, okay? And what I really want to say is SEO gets you shown, clarity gets you paid. SEO gets you shown, clarity gets you paid. Now, what I see people doing a lot is they will focus so much on the matching. What keywords should I use? What should my title look like? How should I format my tags? My category, which one should I be in? SEO, SEO, SEO. Fine, but that's only one side of the story. People then kind of fall down when it comes to the listing quality, the converting side of this. Things like photos, clarity within your listing, price, description, reviews. People then just kind of sleep on that. And not to mention, if you're only fixing the matching side of this and you're kind of, not really doing a lot with the listing quality, the converting side of this, nothing will change. And you're still going to be sat wherever you've been sat at in the search result. Now let's talk about what keywords actually are and what they aren't, okay? A keyword is not anything magic. It's not a trend. It's not a hack. It's not like a secret code. It is simply a phrase a real human types in when they are looking for something specific. That is literally it, okay? Now, what you have to remember is long tail keywords are for when people are in the third, fourth, or fifth search change. Because when you search for stuff, right, you probably go on to, let's take Amazon for an example. You probably type in grey table, and then you change your search to grey side table. And then you change your search to slim grey side table. See how you're adding words in because you're looking at the search results and realizing, okay, I'm being a bit vague here. I need to add words to my search and I need to update my search. That is exactly how people are shopping on Etsy, right? So if someone types in personalized teacher mug, Etsy looks for listings that clearly say that. And don't forget what I always say, exact matches always rank higher. Then they will rank those that are most likely to sell. Okay, so what this means is that keywords are the signposts. They help someone to find where they gotta go. But once they are where they gotta go, your shop has to still be worth walking into. So that means if your photos are unclear or your listing feels confusing, keywords are not going to save you from that. So now I just want to mention where keywords actually matter. Okay, this is important. So listen up. If you're listening to this whilst walking the dog or something like that, just zone in for a hot minute. The keywords matter most in your title, your tags, your categories, and your attributes. Those are where keywords matter the most. Now, I'm also going to add descriptions onto that list as well, because that is also another really important place where your keywords matter. So title, tags, categories, attributes, descriptions. That is all the 5 places you need to worry about. Now, what I see happen a lot is people will write for the customer or for the algorithm. They never really write for both. And let's be honest, both are going to be seeing your listing. Both are going to be looking at your title, your tags, descriptions, categories, attributes. So both are going to be looking at your title, your tags, your categories, your attributes, descriptions, especially important in places like Google as well, because your Etsy listings will also show up in Google search. So it's very much like people will often, when they're writing or creating their listings, is that they'll only think about the algorithm because they're desperate to be shown. Well, you're only looking at the matching side. You're not really looking at the converting side, which is actually what is going to get you sales, because guess what? Yes, there's an algorithm there, but also real people are going to be looking at your products, at how you're listing them. Okay, so if you're watching the video version of this, you are now going to see on screen a search bar with the search term silver heart necklace gift, okay? And just to simplify this, I've got two listing titles here. Number one that says silver heart necklace gift for her. That is listing A. Listing B has a title that says the Monica necklace silver gift. Now, which one do you think Etsy would confidently match to that search? Is it going to be silver heart necklace gift for her, listing A, or is it going to be listing B, the Monica necklace silver gift? You've probably guessed it, but obviously it's going to be listing A. If someone is searching for silver heart necklace gift and your title doesn't clearly say that, Etsy has no reason to assume that you are the best match. And this is where, when people are getting really frustrated with the algorithm, I'm not being shown, why am I not being shown? It's purely because of the words that you have used in your listing are not matching what your target audience are actually looking for. Therefore, we probably need a deeper understanding of how your target audience will search. Now I want to talk about renewing listings, because this is something that seems to have reared its head up again. Do you remember back in 2015, 2016, where people were like, oh, I need to renew listings, renew listings, renew listings, renew listings. And people were obsessed with this because they were convinced that it was going to do something. Let me just bust that myth. Renewing does not reset it, does not boost it, and it does not tell Etsy you magically deserve more views. All it does is update the timestamp. That's pretty much all it really does. If your listing wasn't converting before, renewing it doesn't magically make it clearer. It doesn't improve the photos. It doesn't make the decision to buy easier for someone viewing it. Most of the time when beginners are not getting sales, it's because Etsy cannot find them. It's because when Etsy does show the listing to a potential buyer searching for those words, buyers do not feel confident enough to buy it, to favorite it, to even click on it. That is not an SEO problem. That's a clarity problem, okay? It is this here on the screen, and I'm circling the convert circle that we spoke about earlier. It's things like photos, wording, structure, ease of decision. Now I want to bring in two comparative characters that I like to use because I think it just kind of brings everything I've said into real life. So we have Sam versus Lydia. Sam will list a few products. She won't get sales for 2 months, 3 months. She literally goes onto Google and types in Etsy SEO tips. Every time sales don't happen, Sam changes keywords, renews listings, swaps tags, rewrites her titles. But what happens here is that her shop just looks different every single week. Nothing improves though, because the core issue hasn't actually been touched. Now let's move on to Lydia. Lydia chooses clear, a little bit boring, but sensible keywords that describe the product properly. She puts them in the right places once. Then she focuses on clear photos, obvious titles, and simple descriptions. She doesn't touch her listings every 5 minutes. She watches what gets clicks and views and sales and favorites. And she fixes only what's confusing people. 3 months later, Sam is exhausted and she's convinced herself that Etsy is just completely broken or the algorithm's changed or something. Lydia has fewer listings than Sam, but they make sense and the sales begin to trickle in. That is the power of being more Sam versus being more Lydia. Here is the key takeaway here. Etsy SEO. It's not about doing more, it's about being clearer. Keywords help people find you, but your listing is what makes them trust you and buy from you. So your homework for this week is I want you to choose one listing, just one, and I want you to ask yourself these 3 things. Is the title written in a way a human would actually search? Not only just any old human, like your target audience would search. Number 2, do the photos clearly show what it is and who it's for? Number 3, does the description help someone decide, or is it just more information layered on? Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Do not forget to subscribe wherever you are consuming this. And also, if you're watching the video version of this, there's a podcast version and vice versa. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all real soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you love this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you never miss the next one. And also, why not come and hang out with me on Instagram? It's at Handmade Bosses for daily tips, behind the scenes. And also, don't forget, you can catch the video version of this podcast over on YouTube too. Until next time, keep going towards your handmade business goals, boss, because the world really does need those special creations that only you can make.